This is the Uber sign that I wanted to install so that I could take out that reflective one that they issue, and this would be much easier to see. Obviously it has Velcro in the four corners and also has this quick disconnect, so if you're on duty or off duty you can connect it, or better yet you could disconnect it when you get out of the car or you don't want other people to know that you are an Uber driver. I saw some other people out there with lights on their car, and I figured I would do it for myself. It helps people be able to see you. Mostly I'm into the Uber Eats, not necessarily taking people out with you, but I felt like it was something I wanted to do, so it is what it is. The company that I have is Lightworks Labs. They issue this light. They also have personalized lights, which I did not get. They also have other things like a remote control that I did not get, and the website is there if you're looking to get it. You got lightworkslabs.com. Going into the next phase, I want to show you guys things that I used and how it made the job a little easier and somewhat to the advantage of trying to get it so it looks somewhat custom. First off, we got our electric tape. I use my Dremel. I'll show you where I use that. Velcro has somewhat always come in handy when we're trying to do something. A little plastic so we could pry different things. I wish I could have had the packaging. The packaging would have been really nice for you all to see, but however, I'll show you when it's come in. Scissors, the small zip ties, fuses because my cigarette lighter or the outlet was out and I had to replace those. These mounting bases, which I'll show you where I implemented those. Electric grease for your connections anytime you disconnect anything. If I see that it does not have anything on it, I'll do that for a good connection. At the moment, I'll go through the process of what it took for me to make it happen, and I'll pop off various things. Some things I'm willing to show you, some things I'm not willing to show you because it's time. Also, too, one of the things that I left out was this thing what I do a lot of fishing of the wires with. It is very helpful. So if you have something like this or something where you can fish the wires through and connect onto it, this thing for me worked really well. Here we go. So you gotta take off this vent. What I did was I stuck the tool under it, pried it up a little bit, and then it's much easier to come apart. This next one, you're taking off the front vent here. Everything is just pretty much easy. It takes a little muscle. Pop that off. You're going to take off this. You can use your pry bar. Pop up. Pop that piece off. Make sure you unplug your things on the back. I believe you have 3 of them. Place that in the back. Next, you're taking up this piece here. Same thing, pop it up. Like so. Now we'll go back to your glove compartment. Like I said, tilt it up and then pull out. And that comes out fairly easy. Now your bezel on the outside of your radio, that pops up as well too. One of the reasons why I like this car, everything pops up. And then you have another disconnect you can put in there. Place that one on the dash. And then also I took off the push start, which is here. Same thing, it pops up. And it has a wire to disconnect here in the back. Place that one on. Alright. Also too, in your window frame over here, where you want it to go, it works on either side. Either side is very somewhat useful. I took my prying tool up here along the edge, pull, and it should pop out just like everything else. Now, when you pull this out, you want to be careful, because it has a black piece that holds it and you need somewhat of a, I would say like a needle nose plier. And that's when the trusty wire grip, you know, your little Letterman tool casing. There's this little black thing here, and you have to twist it. So you twist it, take your needle nose pliers, and then it comes out like so. And I didn't take that all the way out, but you can if you want to, and I'm not going to take that out. I have this gray panel here, and it pops off as well too. So just pop it off. There's 2 tabs in it, one at the top, one here. Once you pop this off, which I was showing you these 2, you have a button screw here, one of those plastic screws, and you're going to take that loose. And you're going to do this on both sides because you need to be able to see. There's probably an easier way, but I didn't do it. This is, I don't know what you can call me, lazy or whatever the case may be. But you want to pop it off. And there you go. You should be very familiar with these if you change your oil in your car. From this point, I would take my little point here and jam it in there. What you want to do is break this apart. It won't come all the way out because it has a screw on the inside, and I have yet to figure out how to get that part out. But however, it'll pull away quite a ways from the base of this center console. So I don't know if you can hear those little pops, but that's what you're looking for, and it'll bend all the way back. Now, as you can see what I have here, I've already hooked it up, but like I said, I'm showing you guys what it looks like when it gets finished, and I try to put it in an area where it was somewhat out of the way. I got my Velcro on the bottom of the base, which this thing conducts the electric to make it run through here. I'm not necessarily sure about what it does, but anyways. And you have your wiring here. You have a USB port which you can plug into this, and then you also have your toggle switch where you can activate the light, and then you actually have the electric that's going to the light to make it illuminate. This back piece, I was trying like a mother to get this thing out, but what I ultimately did was I pushed it. Well, I pulled on this piece, which was here, and then I pushed down and I got it with my utility knife, and kind of jammed it down in this crevice here, and I was able to pop it out, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Get it in there, and then it was able to pop it out. There you go. Now, from what I did from this point is what you have to determine what you want it to look like. Some people have their wires running all over the place, but I felt like for me this was the cleanest that I could get it. From this point, what I did was I took my Dremel. I don't know if you can see this. Let me disconnect it. I took my Dremel and I dremeled it down, or shaved it down, so the wires could fit through without kind of bonding, or if it would wear on the wire over eventual, you know, whatever period of a time. Also too, I took this and my Dremel in here as well too, to allow that wire to slide in between without it rubbing up against and eventually becoming too abrasive where it would tear the wire. So that's what I did. I Dremel this side for the red one and the black one to run this way. Then what I did was I used this handy dandy thing, and I fished my lines all the way up, and I ran them from here up through the back side of that, and I fished it all the way down. I like this because you probably can't even see where I put it, so to me that's a great job. What I did was I have my wire in here on the back side, this wire right here, and it's running all along the back side, so it comes up and runs through the back side. If you actually take this apart, you'll see the air conditioning venting, and it runs along the air conditioning venting. I got it coming through here, feeding through there, me use this. Maybe you can see it a little better. I have my line fish here, and then what I did was I ran it under the air conditioning vent and along the wall and up, and then I wrapped it along this. And this is very important too. I would not put the line over the top of your airbags if you were to get in an accident. I put it behind it so it wouldn't restrict it. And then I ran it down out into this end. And what I did was I wrapped it around this electric right here. And then if I needed some, I could pull it. But if I don't, then I can pull it down and kind of straighten it out a little bit so that it looks somewhat legit. So from that point, like I said, you got this, your wire running all along this portion here, and it goes back down. Along this point, you have a weather strip right in here, and it runs perfectly if you run it in there correctly. And like I said, it comes back down, and then I pulled it and zip tied it, or better yet, I bread rolled it. I bread rolled it with the tie, and then I put the excess back here. And like I said, for that piece, you can see all my lines. It is not in here because I didn't want it to interfere with me putting the glove compartment back in. And then I ran it down the back side of this with my fish line. And like I said, this thing works wonder if you're trying to do this without having people be able to see your wire. Like I said, on the other side, you got to take this off. There's 2 pins in it, 2, 1, 2, and then slide it out. It's like a holding bracket back here in the back. Like I said, there's that black pin again. Once again, pop that pin out and then try to pull your frame back a little bit so you can get in. What I did for this one was I hooked it up once. I've probably done this like 3 times, and what I was realizing was if I put my foot on the accelerator, it would interfere with the wiring. So what I did was I brought the wiring, like I told you, from in here, and I ran it much closer so it would probably along the air conditioning vents for on the floor. But what I did was I pushed it back that way so it wouldn't interfere when I was trying to press the accelerator. And then I ran it up. This piece right here, I was unable to pull that out, but I could pop out the top and get enough space in there. And like I said, you could probably hear it pop. From that point, what I did was I used my handy dandy fish line again, and I went down, pulled it up and through. And then what I did was I used one of my mountain bases, which I showed. This is what the mountain base looks like. It has a little, plastic cover on the back. Peel that off, and then it's like a Velcro strip. Showed you earlier, and a zip tie here, which I'll probably trim that off. And that way, if I wanted to, I could pull it out, press the button, or if someone was really close and they didn't know what car I was in, I could play with the light and flick it on and off, all that good stuff. They do have a remote control, but I don't need a remote control. So from that point, pop that back in. You got a lot of play in here, so if you want to fish it in or pull it out, whatever the case may be, and get more wire, there you go. But also too, I have my dielectric grease for any connections like I disconnect. That way I try to, going back the second time, put some grease on the connections. Obviously the car's getting a little older and older, so try to make sure things are running efficiently. I'm putting the back plate back on. Remember to put this black push button screw back in there. Put it back in the ram, snap, good to go. Coming back. Snap in your ignition switch. Snap. Then next we put back in the trimming for the radio. Remember the back snap, dielectric grease on your connections. Next up, we're gonna put in the glove compartment. Remember, put in the top portion first. And then once you kind of sit it in, pull it straight out. Pull it straight out, and then push it in, and you should hear some pops. Like so. Then you got your outside bezel of the radio. You got your controller, color. Make sure you use your dielectric grease. Then you have your arm, and like I said, it has the weather stripping in it. Try to get it in that weather stripping before you connect it. For some reason, when I do it, I like to push this little piece in on the back, and that helps you line up everything. Don't forget your multi-tool, so you can turn the little black thing we talked about earlier back the correct way. That's that. Once you do that, it should go back in pretty smoothly. Like I said, remember about your wiring. Put it back in so your weather is right behind that weather stripping, and then you should be able to push it in with no problem. And everything pretty much pops in. Still have your wire hanging. The last couple of things you want to put in is your vent first, because I believe that black piece goes over the top. Line that up. It goes in rather smoothly. And then your top piece, which was a pain in the butt to get out the first time. As I was saying earlier, now you're going to be able to see where we ran the wiring and why those little things were so important. Alright, going back over to the big portion. What I did was I put these your wiring down in here, and then I put it where I drilled it out, and based upon how the wires run, then it'll run to the particular area that I smoothed out with on the cover, and that way it wouldn't be in a bind when I actually put it in there. So plug back in your outlet for your cigarette lighter. And then just try to get try to get that wiring lined up. That way when it gets in there, it doesn't necessarily feel like it has a bind in it and snap that. Now as we just button that back up, put our outlet in the power up your car. Green light comes on, telling you it's on. And then this is your USB that you plug in. And then like we was talking about earlier, now your system is pretty much in cahoots with running. And that's that. Alright, for the last portion of the video, I want to show you guys what it looks like when it's on. And if someone couldn't find you, then you could toggle the switch. Let them know you're here. And that's what it looks like, guys. From this point, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Until next time.